And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what?
China!
All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing. Yes.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. 'Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient is there. That's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
But
all that he said,
no, we don't have.
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of
Yes.
notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? Do you want
I don't believe that the Jewish state and modern Zionism would have been possible without Christian Zionism. Christian Zionism. Christian Zionism. The Jewish state and modern Zionism would have been possible without Christian Zionism. I think that the many Christian supporters of the rebirth of the Jewish state and the ingathering of the Jewish people in the 19th century made possible the rise of Jewish Zionism.
I'm delighted to present my latest book, In Defense of Israel. This book will expose the sins of the fathers and the vicious abuse of the Jewish people. In Defense of Israel will shape Christian theology. It scripturally proves that the Jewish people as a whole did not reject Jesus as Messiah. It will also prove that Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. Jesus did not come to earth to be the Messiah. It will prove that there was a Calvary conspiracy between Rome, the high priest, and Herod to execute Jesus as an insurrectionist too dangerous to live. Since Jesus refused by word and deed to claim to be the Messiah, how can the Jews be blamed for rejecting what was never offered? Read it in this shocking expose, In Defense of Israel.
Were I a Jew, I would be a Zionist. And my father pointed out to me, I did not need to be a Jew to be a Zionist, for I am. Israel is essential to the security of Jews worldwide.
So the way to talk about the Jewish community in general, there are not very many Jews on the planet. Due to conspiracy theories, people tend to think there are tens of millions of Jews on the planet. The grand total number of Jews on planet Earth is about 15 million. About 7 million who live in the state of Israel. There are about 6 million who live in the United States.
So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now immigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false.
It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel, 600 fatalities in Israel. It's really unfathomable. And 600, I hope everyone understands, 600 fatalities in Israel proportionally is like having here 20,000 American fatalities. 20,000 people who are being butchered, massacred by these savage terrorists. It's our 9/11.
KJ, you gotta come here, all right? I gotta show you.
I gotta leave soon, man.
I know you have
I gotta
to leave.
get out of
Listen
here.
to me. Okay, so I'm watching TV like a year ago, all right? I'm watching one of those History Channel shows, trying to learn. And I stumble. You ever hear African Jews?
African Jews?
Yeah. No, right? No.
Looking for everybody to be a Jew.
Check this out. I don't know, all right? So these are black Jews, all right? They're stranded in the middle of Ethiopia.
Now I can't figure it out. If y'all are the chosen ones, shouldn't y'all be obeying better than me? I mean, I even try to keep the fourth commandment. Try to keep the Sabbath day holy. I've spent many of hours trying to figure out which is the right Sabbath day, 'cause we know that old Catholic Church, something a little fishy about them, don't we? With that white Jesus. I mean, here's a white guy telling you black people that your Messiah is not a long-haired white European guy. Your Messiah is Hebrew, my darker-skinned brothers and sisters. When are you guys going to wake up and become kings and queens?
It does not matter what color Jesus was. What matters is that he came to the earth, lived a perfect life, died a death for the sins of the world, and then conquered the grave, proving that he is the Son of God. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. In the 13th tribe, Arthur Koestler traces the origin of Eastern Europe's Jewish population that was largely decimated by the Nazi onslaught during the Second World War. Through extensive research, he discusses the history of a trading empire that was set up by a tribe known as the Khazars. The Khazar Empire was located between the expanding power blocks of Christianity and Islam, and the people were converted to Judaism by their king as a way of standing apart from both. The Khazarians and their wealth were dispersed through the countries of Eastern Europe after the collapse of the Khazar Empire. The Khazarians were not a Semitic people, that they called themselves Jews after their conversion to Judaism is as absurd as the Chinese Muslims calling themselves Arabs. Is as absurd as the Chinese Muslims calling themselves Arabs. Is as absurd as the Chinese Muslims calling themselves.
Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope all is well with you guys. Hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. We had a great Shabbat. Actually had a great time this weekend. Was able to marry a couple this weekend. Did a lot. Married a couple this weekend, of course. Shabbat service. Spent time with the family. Daughter came up from school. So we just had a great time this weekend. Also still recovering from the awesome time that we had last week. I'm going to try to upload the video from Philadelphia visit from last week. Got some other things that's on the horizon. So really appreciate you guys, and got a lot that I'm going to do. I was working on a video earlier that I was going to try to upload, but ended up, couldn't do it because it had some glitches in the software that I'm using to do the editing. So pushed it back. So I have a video I'm going to upload. I was going to upload it tonight, but hopefully I could get it done tomorrow. It's really going to address some stuff with Judaism, with Zionism. So got a lot that I'm working on. But nevertheless, we have a lot to cover tonight. A lot, but yet we're going to keep it simple. Matter of fact, let me see if my cousin is available. If he wants to come online, I'll put the link out for him. Let me see here. Let me text him real quick. See if he is available. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right, just texting him real quick. All right. All right. There we go. Just wanted to text him real quick. All right. But nevertheless, want to cover what you saw inside the video, and also want to cover some of what I taught earlier. We had a great time again at Shabbat. That was one of those lessons. Literally, I put it together for the most part prior to probably about 30 or 40 minutes before the actual service, because I really wanted to, shift based upon some information that came across my floor here. So I really want to deal with some stuff here, and see my sister Shonda in the building. I want to say shout outs to you, Sister Shonda. If you guys have not subscribed to her channel, subscribe to her channel. She's put in a lot of work. I want to say peace and blessings. I thought I saw Sister Carol, and we'll get some shout outs as we go into, like, when I post the the questions, when I take polls. But we have a lot to cover tonight. All right. Not gonna go too long. I'm gonna try to narrow it down, but let me stretch the screen out. Not the original. That is our subject tonight, not the original. Ban the truth. That's right, family. They are doing everything that they can to ban this truth. And when I say they, I'm dealing with that Israel, not this Israel, that Israeli. Let me be more specific. So that's been my theme, that Israel versus this Israel. The Israelis versus the ancient people of the book. All right. So that's what we're dealing with. And so there's, a lot to deal with tonight, but we're going to keep it simple. I saw a post that my cousin Benaiah had posted on his platform a couple of days ago in regards to DNA being banned, DNA testing being banned in Israel. That's right, family. DNA testing is banned in Israel. Let me play this video again. You guys saw it in the opening, the intro. So let me play this video real quick again.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
Oh yeah. That's a lot to chew on, right? And matter of fact, if you guys remember, I said it, been saying this for a few weeks. I'm waiting for a paradigm shift. I'm waiting for at least one of those communities, one of those countries to put that question on the floor. Because that's the true question that needs to be dealt with right now. Not the original. Banned the truth. They had banned the truth. And I'm going to go somewhere with this, but I want to kind of walk you through here, similar to what I did earlier in our assembly. This is the lesson I put together earlier. All right. Sometimes I based upon, how the Spirit leads me, I'll adjust my lessons. Many cases based upon who's in the assembly, I adjust on the fly. Even when I go to certain places, different places to speak, they'll give me a theme, but then I'll see, get a feel for the people, and I'll just adjust on the fly and stay within that theme, because I want to make sure that whatever word that is being given for that house, right, is going to really minister to at least one person there. All right. So it's not about me trying to look and sound good. No, it's all about Yah's will. But nevertheless, not the original. Banned the truth. Let's get into it, family. Let's get into it. Now, you guys remember this video here. And of course, this is one of the guys that's been spewing a lot of craziness. You guys know him. You guys recognize him. When I say craziness, I'm not trying to insult him in terms of calling him names. But what I mean by that is I'll show you the video again about him denying or trying to disassociate from the Ashkenazis. And I'll let you hear the double talk. But this is the initial video that you guys saw here. And family, I want to encourage you guys, right? I want to encourage you guys. Show this video to your loved ones. Show this video to your pastor. Show this video to your Bible study groups, because this video needs to be talked about more, because it encapsulates the very argument that many in this awakening have been making, that You cannot say that Jew, that word Jew, is synonymous to all of Israel. The way that that word is being used is as if, how can I put it? It's being used to replace Israel, the true ancient Israelite people. That word Jew, again, it began its true conception in the 12th century. And by the time it got to the 18th century, that's where, again, all the agendas began to kick in, the politics behind it. So I'm going to play this again. And I want you guys to pay attention to what he says, because this is the agenda. It's not about the ancient Israelites. It's about a religion and a construct that was created strictly for a religion to convert people over. So I'm going to play this one more time. It's a simple video. It's a quick video, but I want to play it real quick. But listen to it closely, family. And you guys know I've been playing this video over and over again. Here we go.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain?
Come on, family. That is full exposure right there. You cannot get around it. That is double talk. Recognize that's the Ebos right there. That's the Ebo elders in that video, right? That particular Messianic rabbi was literally superimposing the narrative that the Ebos are the tribe of Gad. Even though they made it clear they consist of all the tribes, he continuously kept pushing Gad. But as you hear in this video, he made it clear that they are the people of the book. They are the ancient Israelites, and they have been confirmed by the Obadiah Alliance, which is a Jewish organization of being connected to the ancient Israelites. And when you read the details of it, it doesn't just talk about Gad. It also talks about the Levites and other tribes. All right. So made it clear that they are Israelites, but asked them, did they want to become, give up their identity as being ancient Israelites and become Jews? That is the agenda when it comes to our community. They want to make sure that they have authority over us. That's why you hear craziness like this guy Shapiro. I love to talk to this guy. He's a top YouTuber right here, right from that community. Again, listen to what he says. He double talks as well.
So the way to talk about the Jewish community in general, there are not very many Jews on the planet. Due to conspiracy theories, people tend to think there are tens of millions of Jews on the planet. The grand total number of Jews on planet Earth is about 15 million. About 7 million who live in the state of Israel. There are about 6 million who live in the United States.
Now, did you guys catch the lie? Did you catch the double talk? There's only a few number of Jews, right? There's 13 million in the world. He said 13 million around the world. There's 7 million inside, 7 million Jews in Israel, and 6 million Jews in the United States. Wait a minute. So that's not around the world, right? You named 2 places. Oh, family. Yeah. Come on, family. Come on, family. You hear the double talk. And it raised some eyebrows when I heard him use 6 million for the United States. The question is, what's getting ready to come to the United States? Especially when we hear and see videos. I have a video. Wasn't able to have enough time to put it into a clip. A Jewish organization down in Atlanta said that young black men are a danger. And they brought up the Black Lives Matter. Oh, family, there's something coming on the horizon directed at this awakening. So this next video, right? This is the double talk. This is the double talk. This is Dr. Mike Brown. And let's hear the double talk here. Let's hear the double talk. Let's see what Mike Brown has to say. Right? So far, we had Rabbi Shapiro, who double talk. Do you want to become ancient? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or do you want to become Jews? That is the question. Come on, family. Then we just heard the other guy. Now let's hear what Dr. Mike Brown has to say.
So, a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now immigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false.
It's been a while since I brought out the garbage can. I just had to bring out the garbage can. You guys heard with your own ears. I don't even have to discuss it. You heard identity theft. You heard it with your own ears. So I don't even have to go into that. So you hear the double talk. You continuously hear the double talk. I'm gonna have to give the double talk a 3-piece. We heard 3 different individuals give contradictory statements. So I'm gonna have to give the 3-piece. Let's give the 3-piece. And let's give them their order to go. All right. So you heard the double talk. You heard the double talk from 3 different individuals. So let's go to the next thing. They know that their lie is over. That's right. Let me say that again. They know the lie is over. They know that their lie is over. Because for a long time, for a very long time, they've been dancing like this.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur.
They've been dancing like that because before social media really began to, get to the place that it is right now, they were able to really push forward an agenda and really go unnoticed, or should I say, without any pushback. But it's over, family. They know that their lie is over. That's why they are doing everything that they can possibly do to cover up the tracks. That's why you hear the double talk. That's they're overplaying their hand. And after a while, people will get tired of kind of like the boy that cried wolf. So they know that their lie is over. They know that they are not the original. They know this. They know that they are not the original. They know this. Come on, family. They know that they are not the original. Matter of fact, we know that there were ancient Negro bones found in the territories of Israel.
Their bones were discovered in Kafse caves near Nazareth in Galilee in 1933. 13 fragile skeletons, one a woman, a tiny baby at her feet. When these bones were first uncovered, they were the oldest complete modern human skeletons ever found.
The numerous skeletons that have been found in caves in Israel at the sites of
Challenge!
You heard in the video, finding Negro bones in Israel, ancient Israel. I know I'm having a little humor tonight. I'm having a little humor. I feel good. You all should feel good because this truth is coming out. Right? This truth is coming out. You guys should be praising the Most High right now. Y'all should be praising the Most High because you're living in such a time as this. They know that their lie is up. They know that their well is running dry. And now you have Ukraine complaining because they are not getting enough attention because of the situation with Russia. But wait a minute, they're the same people, right? United States have given over $250 billion just to the Ukrainians alone. That's a whole nother discussion. Let me get out of that. That spirit of control, man, I'm telling you, that spirit of control, of control, that Python spirit is being challenged right now. Why do I bring up the Python spirit? Let's go to Acts chapter 16. I want to tie all of this together and we'll get to the DNA. Acts chapter 16, verse 16. This is what we're witnessing right now. This is the spirit that our community has been up under for centuries upon centuries, blinded to the fact that we are the ancient Israelites. We are the people of the book. They know it. See, we have to talk about this, family. We have to talk about this. Nothing like going to a wedding and doing a wedding yesterday and having some of the people come up to me asking me about their DNA. Never met them before. Didn't know them. And came up to me because they heard about We Woke Now. They recognized me. I didn't know that some of them would, but they came up to me with their phone showing me their DNA results. And it was a blessing to be able to explain it to them. Come on, family. Come on, family. Come on, family. We are living in a great time right now. So let's start at verse 16. And it came to pass as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination. Now, you guys know I just did a series on dealing with witchcraft, right? I did it from a different angle. I didn't want to just do the typical pumpkins and all that stuff. I want to show you exactly what witchcraft is biblically. And witchcraft biblically is bending, twisting the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. The Greek word is anomia. The Hebrew word, ancient Hebrew, is awa, and the Israeli is ava, right? And it means to bend, twist the law, transgression of the law. That is witchcraft. That's what witches operate in. Okay, but nevertheless, verse 16, and it came to pass as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with a spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. The same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, these men are the servants of the Most High. Now, I want to make sure you guys understand, right? Do not get excited when someone pays you a compliment. Let me say that again. Do not get excited because someone paid you a compliment. Someone gave you a compliment. Here it is. This young damsel who was possessed by a spirit of divination. It says here, the same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, these men are the servants of the Most High. Now, that seemed to be a very good compliment. That seemed to be a compliment. That seemed to be a compliment. But guess what? I'm going to show you that it wasn't a compliment. It was actually a demonic comment that Paul actually was grieved about. Similar to this here. Similar to what I played with that rabbi complimenting the Igbo elders, saying that they are ancient Israelites. But then, guess what? The truth came out. The agenda came out. Here's one last time. I'm going to play it one last time.
You know what you are? You are an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israelite, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
already said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews? Do you want to?
All right. So you saw the setup. And they were so excited. When I say they, our Igbo brothers and sisters, they were excited. But guess what? There was an agenda behind it. He asked them to convert, deny their ancient Hebrew Israelite culture. And family, I'm looking for. I did a declaration. I wrote it out. I'm looking for it, and I will put the video up when I did a conference down in Florida. But I started off by saying I will not denounce my Hebrew Israelite identity. And you should not deny your Hebrew Israelite identity. I know we got some brothers and sisters, because the heat is getting tough. The heat is being escalated. That furnace, Nebuchadnezzar is having that furnace turned up even hotter and ready to toss us inside the furnace. I know when that heat is really the intensity of it is getting to a lot of you guys. And so you're saying you don't even want to call yourself an Israelite. You don't want to call yourself a Hebrew. Some are going right back into the frying pan, so to speak, of deception and delusion, embracing Christianity, all because of what? Not being able to take the heat. Now, I know that there's some bad patches inside this awakening. We all know it. But guess what? Every group have their bad patches, right? And many use that as an excuse to do videos like why I denounced being a Hebrew Israelite. That right there tells you that they were never embracing their identity from the beginning, that they were looking at this as a religion. They were looking at this as something to jump on the bandwagon. They were just, that's all it was. They were just bandwagon jumpers, right? But anyway, right? Don't get caught up in the compliments, family. All right, so let's get into it again. Let's continue. So verse 17, the same followed Paul and us and cried, saying, these men are the servants of the Most High, Elohim, right? Which show unto us the way of salvation. Let me say that again, which show unto us the way of salvation. That seemed like it's a compliment, but this didn't resonate. This didn't sit well on Paul's spirit. It didn't bear witness to his spirit. Verse 18, and this did she many days. So regularly, on a regular basis, she's what seemed to be a compliment. She's saying that these men are the servants of the Most High Elohim. Yours to say Most High God, but servants of the Most High Elohim, which show unto us the way of salvation. And this did she many days. Notice here, but Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the Spirit, I command thee in the name of Yahushai HaMashiach, that's Jesus the Christ in ancient Hebrew, to come out her. And he came out the same hour. Family, that's the authority that you guys have. That's the authority that you guys have. Family, there's something special about you, Judah. That's the authority that the Most High has given each and every one of us. That's the authority that the Most High has given each and every one of us. He did not speak to no other nation but Israel. So there's something special about you, Judah. See, she was being mocked. She was mocking, rather, the disciples, just like we're being mocked. They took the label Hebrew Israelites and made it into a byword. But notice here, it says that he commanded in the name, the reputation. That's the key. Name, Sham, reputation, character, glory of Yahushai HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, to come out of her. And he came out, didn't say the next day, didn't say 2 weeks later, didn't say a month later. It says the same hour, but it didn't stop there. Verse 19, and when her masters saw that the hope of their gains were gone. Family, do you know that they are mad at this awakening because their gains are dwindling? Since this awakening, guess what? Many of our brothers and sisters are now getting back into that natural, not using a lot of chemicals, and actually completely got away from using chemicals in their hair, chemicals on their skin. Now paying attention to their diet. What does that mean? Now that you left that pork alone, now that you left that shrimp alone, remove that catfish out of your diet, guess what? Now guess what? Your health is improving. Because it's a cost, it's money, it's big money. Healthy people make the hospitals mad. See, when you're healthy, guess what? That taps into their income. Come on, family. We are tapping into their bottom line. Now we're supporting each other more and more. Now people are coming up with their own clothing lines within the community that many are supporting. Many are coming up with jewelry. Many are coming up with different things that they are now selling internally. So when her masters saw that the hope of their gains, when they saw that they're seeing the hope of their gains was gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace unto the rulers. So now these two men, right, they saw that their gain was gone because that this young damsel, and we can equate that young damsel to Israel, because it took some people, it took Paul and Silas and others to really say, no, y'all the people of the book. No, we're going to cast this thing out. It took people laboring. Now the damsel, now Israel is awakened. We're still waking up, still going through the process. But these masters saw that the hope of their gains was gone, they called Paul and Silas and drew them into the marketplace and to the rulers and brought them to the magistrates, saying, these men, being Judeans, do exceedingly trouble our city. Do you know that they labeled us troublemakers? Do you know we are labeled as troublemakers, similar to Elijah when he stepped on the scene? Here comes that troublemaker, right? That's what King Ahab greeted him. You know you have a reputation. You know you're doing damage. You know you are hitting their pockets hard when they label you the troublemaker. This awakening has been labeled the troublemakers. So come on, family, embrace it, right? Let's be the troublemakers, because that means that there's discussions. So these men, being Judeans, do exceedingly trouble our city. So these Israelites are a problem. That's basically what they're saying. Do you know, family, you Israelites, we the Israelites, we are a major problem. See, if you listen closely to that Shapiro guy, right, that double talk with the 13 million number, he literally, if you listen closely, I'm gonna play it real quick. Listen to where he deals with conspiracy. When you really listen to it, he's dealing with this awakening. He's dealing with addressing the Lembas, the Igbos, and some of the other tribes that have been proven to be blood descendants of Israel. Listen to it closely, family. Listen, if you didn't catch it, listen to it again.
So the way to talk about the Jewish community in general, there are not very many Jews on the planet. Due to conspiracy theories, people tend to think there are tens of millions of Jews on the planet. The grand total number of Jews on.
You heard him? Due to conspiracy theories, people think that there's tens of millions. Did you guys catch that? See, family, I pay attention to the details, family. I pay attention to the details. We need to start paying attention to the details. Remember that old saying, the devil's in the details? Pay attention. The devil is in the details. He said conspiracy theories, right? Suggesting that there's tens of thousands. Our family, we going in tonight. We going in tonight. We are going in tonight. All right. So these Israelites are a problem, family. You are a problem. I am a problem. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of this, the definition of the damsel, but the key is this damsel was possessed with a spirit of divination. Let me say that again. This damsel was possessed with a spirit of divination. Here's the Hebrew dictionary definition of possess. We see yarash, right? It means to occupy. Wait a minute. So possessed from a Hebrew school of thought means to occupy. Doesn't this sound familiar? To occupy, to seize, to rob, to inherit, to ruin, cast out, consume, destroy. Doesn't that sound familiar? What are we witnessing right now? Are we not seeing a descendants of a European group occupying a territory that's not theirs? Now they are seizing the territory. You see here, to rob, to inherit, to ruin, cast out, consume, destroy. Told the people that are there, told them literally to flee, to go to South Gaza, only to bomb South Gaza, Southern Gaza. That's similar to what happened at the Holocaust. You had the Jews who did not want to leave and go to Israel, what's known as Israel today. They did not want to go. And what happened? They were convinced to get on these trains. These trains were supposed to remove them out of harm's way. But instead, these trains, they called them death trains. And these trains led them right to the plantation, led them right to these incinerators. led them right into being locked up in these concentration camps. Come on, family. And we see the playbook. We see the playbook. Anyway, I'm not going to delve on that too much longer. But Yarash in the Israeli Yaresh means to occupy. It means to seize. It means to rob. It means to inherit. It means to ruin. It means to cast out. It means consume. It means destroy. So let's deal with this word enchantment, because it still ties into charms. It still ties into divination. Enchantment still ties into these. So we already dealt with charms. We dealt with necromancy. All of this still ties in together. But notice what it says: enchantment, act of magic or witchcraft, right? Use of magic, magic power, magic spell. Cast a spell upon, cast a magic spell upon. Then we see allure. So let's go to the Hebrew dictionary definition of enchantment. So we dealt with divination, possession. Now we're dealing with enchantment, synonymous to charms, right? Nakash. Let's see what nakash means. It says this: to hiss. Hiss. Nakash means to hiss. Now this is synonymous to what? Charms, canary, the spirit of the canary, the ventriloquist spirit. We already covered that. But think about it. It means to hiss. Nakas, it says to hiss. An example, whisper, a spell, a magic spell. Enchantment. Now, family, what creature hisses? What creature makes the hissing sound? What creature? Y'all should know this, but what creature? I'll do some shout outs as y'all post it inside the comment section. Carlos said snake. Peace and blessings to my brother Carlos. He said snake. Isaiah said snake. Want to give some shout outs to Isaiah. Jerry said snake. Christopher said snake. So I'm giving some shout outs as we ask questions here. So I want to give some shout outs to you guys as we progress here. I know it's going up pretty fast here, so forgive me if I miss some of you guys. I need to slow down this here. So Jerry said snake. Christopher said snake. Simo said snake. Yah's daughter said snake. Amaria said snake. Cindy said serpent, snake. Alexandria, shout outs to a moderator. Alexandria said snake. D1 spooky or spoony. Oh, I'm sorry if I butchered it. My bad. So D1 spoon key or spoon Kentucky. I hope I'm not butchering it, but charge it to my head, not to my heart. Snake. Monica Dixon, snake. Ronald Jones, snake. Shout outs to you guys. Diamond Love, snake. Talisha Yah, snake, serpent. Macman, snake, serpent. Sister Carol in the building, and also saw my buddy Jay Highstyle. I want to give a shout out to you. Jay Highstyle in the building as well. Snake, all right. Snake Cats, Bass Reeves, snake, Kana, cats, snakes. All right. Let's see here. So Soda Pop, right? Okay, Soda Pop TV. Want to say shout outs to you. Snake, I'm gonna have to peep out your channel here. Soda Pop TV. I have to peep you out. All right, makes me think about the old school. All right, God never fails. Someone said people. Okay, Octeria, snake. So far, for the most part, everyone is saying snake. Hadassah, snake. Roger Nelson, snake. Tanya Horton, shout outs to you, snake. All right. All right, let's see here. Some tarantulas. I didn't know tarantulas can hiss. Okay, all right. That's a new one for me. All right. Isaiah, Isaiah, Israel, Yehuda. All right. So a couple of more here. Dorothy, snake. Victor, snake. And we have Keith Collins, snake. All right. So really appreciate all the participation here. Mika Elohim, snake. In focus. To see, snake. So pretty much everyone says snake. All right. And some added cat to it. Okay. Now let me give a special shout out as well. I want to give a special shout out to Douglas, brother Douglas Worley. Thank you for the super sticker. Let's show some love to all those that have contributed tonight. Let's show some love to brother Douglas tonight. T of Yah, let's show some love as well. Shalom to you as well. Also, let's show some love to Derby, Arlene, Map. Let's show some love here. All right. Really appreciate the love and support tonight. And also, Father of Many Nations, right? And he said snakes. So let's show some love to everyone that contributed tonight, family. Let's show some love again to Father of Many Nations. All right. As well as Derby, Arlene, Sister Derby, T of Yah. Let's show some love. And Douglas Worley. All right. Really appreciate you guys. All right, family. So let's get back into the lesson. All right. So pretty much everyone agree snake. Now I'm going somewhere with this. Somebody said flat tire. All right. You always come on, Blackjack. You had to be the one. He said black tire. I mean, flat tire. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I know I saw it, but anyway. All right. Appreciate it, my brother, for holding it down in the chat as well. All right, so let's go and get into it. What creature hisses? All right. We're going to answer that question, even though we all know I'm going to deal with the snake, but let's get back to divination. Then we'll tie that in. All right. Divination. All right. Let's see what it says here. It says to distribute, quasam, right? It says to distribute, determined by lot, magical scroll, soothsayer, divination, false prophet. I'm bringing all of this together. Then we go to divination from the Greek. And notice what it says. Puthon, right? Puthon. You see oracle. Notice what you see. Python. So when we see soothsaying, so this is telling you, and when we see divination, Puthon, or this python spirit, right? So this damsel, right? When she was possessed by this demon, she was speaking oracles. She was basically becoming Sister Cleo. You guys remember Sister Cleo? They used to be late night with the, with the psychic hotline. So she was possessed by this demonic spirit, this python spirit, and she was able to give people predictions. So as you see here, she was under a python spirit. That's why you see python. By analogy with the supposed diviner, there. Inspiration, soothsaying, divination. But notice here, in Greek mythology, the name of the Pythian serpent or dragon that dwelt in the region of Pytho. So we see here that now we're dealing with this serpent. Then we see a spirit of divination in entry number 2. So the Greek word puthona is the English word for python. Let me say that again. The Greek word puthona is the English word for python. This is referring to a large python serpent. So the python, when you know about pythons, when you study pythons, they are a constrictor snake, right? They are constrictors. And what a constrictor is, and we're going to read entry number 2, a snake such as a boa constrictor, right? That coils around and compresses prey. So that's a constrictor. And what they do is when they wrap around their prey, they make it so that way the prey, each time the prey breathes out, they tighten their grip to keep them from breathing in. That's how they suffocate. All right. So remember, also, snakes have poor vision. That's another thing I want to highlight about these snakes. Live science, right? Snake controlled blood flow to boost vision. But notice what it says here. Snakes have infamously poor eyesight, which is why they resort to sticking out their tongues all the time to get a sense of their surroundings. We could take this and bring this in the natural family. A snake, right? We have people that want to put their mouths on you just so that way they can get a gauge of where you are. Be careful with conversations that you indulge in. Be careful of being baited into unnecessary discussions that can promote anger, that can promote arguments and disagreements, that can promote discord. So a snake, as you see here, they resort to sticking out their tongues all the time to get a sense of their surroundings. Come on, family. We got to look at this here and understand this is the playbook. Social media, that's the playbook. People post stuff and do videos and all this, man, battle videos now. Make up stuff just so that way they can try to bait the other person into a conversation. That's why Tasha K is paying over $4 million in damages, because she put a lie out there about Cardi B, put a lie out there to try to bait her into coming on her channel, to bait her into giving an apology. It was just so that way she can boost up her ratings. That's what snakes does. They put their tongue in the atmosphere so they can locate their prey. All right. So here's a word for poor vision. I'm not going to just ask the question. I'll give it to you. What is the word for poor vision? Mirage. The word for poor vision, right? The word that is interchangeable with poor vision is a mirage. And family, we've been lied to. We have been set up for the mirage. We've been set up, family. We've been hoodwinked. We've had our identity stripped from us. Right? So we see mirage, something illusory and attainable like a mirage. So we see a mirage. A mirage can be just like a vision. Can look the same. But the difference is a mirage sets you up. You chase this mirage. And by the time you get to that point, you realize the mirage is not real. But you made it past that point of no return. That mirage will cause you to exhaust all your resources. Like the woman searching to be healed with the issue of blood. She exhausted all of her resources. People took advantage. The Most High gives vision. Man, Hasatan gives what? Mirage. Hasatan tested the Messiah with a mirage. All right. So they know, let me say this again. They know that their lies is over. Let me say that again. They know that their lie is over, family. They know their lie is over. They know that they are not the original. So now they're trying to tighten their coils. They are trying to tighten their coils. Let me say this again, family. They know that they are not the original. That's why I want to set up everything that I pointed out. All right. That's why I want to make it clear, family. This is why we see all the things that we see, and they are trying to tighten the grip. They're trying to tighten the grip. They know that they are not the original. So let's deal with the spirit of control. Let's deal with the spirit of control. Let's take it a step further. Right? Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 19. You guys know this verse, but I'm just going to read it anyway. O Yahweh, my strength, my fortress, my refuge in the day of affliction, the other nations, right? Your Bibles will say Gentiles, but it really simply means other nations shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. So this is an example of inheriting lies. This is an example of just what you heard. This is an example. Let me just play one of these videos real quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let me just play one of the videos one more time.
Now I can't figure it out. If y'all are the chosen ones, shouldn't y'all be obeying better than me? I mean, I even try to keep the fourth commandment. Try to keep the Sabbath day holy. I've spent many of hours trying to figure out which is the right Sabbath day, because we know that old Catholic Church, something a little fishy about them, don't we? With that white Jesus. I mean, here's a white guy telling you black people that your Messiah is not a long-haired white European guy. Your Messiah is Hebrew, my darker-skinned brothers and sisters. When are you guys going to wake up and become kings and queens?
See, family, that's why I've been uploading these videos like this, because I've been getting a lot of people saying that these short videos, like what you just heard, help them a lot. Help them a lot. Right? So, inherited lies. So when we look at lie, let's see what it means. Right? Sheker, from an Israeli, but from an ancient Hebrew, shakar. All right, shakar. All right, let's see what it means. It says an untruth, without a cause, deceit, deceitful, false, falsehood, deception, disappointed. So we see so many of other nations saying that they were given untruths. But family, we've been given untruths as well. A lot of untruths, layers and layers of untruths. And when we go to this primitive root word, we see this word here, shakar. It says here, it says to cheat, be untrue, fail, deal falsely, lie, trick, cheat. And all of us been under this lie, been cheated, dealt with, been given information that was completely untrue. So other nations from around the world will declare that their fathers were living a sham. Their fathers were living a life of deceit, falsehood, deception, untruths. So family, what are some of the big lies? Oh, we're going to go into it. What are some of the big lies? What are some of the untruths? What are some of the untruths? Now, I remember this article, right? I remember this article when I was doing my message. I think I was at the end of doing my almost 4 year message at this time. And this is part of my lesson, right? I remember seeing this article here. Times of Israel, Messianic Jews to Nigerians, you're not real Jews. August 11, 2017. Now notice this, family. In a move that has garnered condemnation and anger from Nigerian Jews and international scholars. I know so many that have pie in their face. So many have pie in their face by posting comments saying that the Igbos are not Israelites, the ancient Israelites. See, part of the problem is when they try to take our DNA and match it to a European DNA. I should have uploaded Professor geneticist Aaron Elhike, and he explained that, right? So the problem is they try to take our DNA and match it to Europeans whose origins are not from that area, from Northeast Africa. Their origins go to Russia, the modern Russia, Ukraine, Crimea, Germany, those modern areas which were actually the territories of the Khazarians, the Khazars, right? So, of course, our DNA is not going to match up to theirs. Again, I had a rabbi. I remember I was engaging a rabbi years ago, right? He asked me a question. He said, what would you tell a people? What warning will you give a tribe that was discovered? What warnings would you give them? And I told him not to allow your people go to them, asking them to take a DNA test. to compare their DNA to yours because it'll never match. You know how that conversation ended, right? So here it is. We have, in a move that has garnered condemnation and anger from Nigerian Jews and international scholars, Jewish Voice Ministries, a Messianic group from Arizona, right? Messianic group from Arizona. I'm telling you, these Messianics, I like to call them messy and antics. These Messianic groups, they're just as bad. They're just as bad as being in the Christian church. Announced this week that the Igbos are not genetically Jews based on their private DNA test. Wait a minute. They have their own private DNA test. Right? Their own private DNA test. Right? They go on to say, let me see here, it says Messianic Judaism, whose adherents consider Jesus to be the Jewish Messiah, is regarded by Israel and Jewish organizations as a form of Christianity. But it goes on to say, Jewish Voice Ministry said they traveled to Nigeria to investigate claims that the Igbo people are descendants of ancient Israelites. Some Igbo believe that the term Igbo is a bastardized version of the word Hebrew. See how they insulted? But what they won't tell you is that they use some of the African tribes like the Bambara to understand words that they couldn't pronounce, words that they did not have definitions for. They got a lot of it from the Igbo. They got a lot of it from the Bambara. Some Igbo believe that the term Igbo is a bastardized version of the word Hebrew, right? And point to many cultural similarities between Igbo traditions and Judaism. Family, I'm here to tell you, they know their lie is over. They know their lie is over. Why? Because you guys heard the video. You heard the video. I'm not going to play it again because I know I played it a few times. You have a lot of papers, right? He said, you are ancient Israelites, right? He said, do you want to remain ancient Israelites or do you want to become Jews? That is the question. Come on, family. Come on, family. Drink a little water here because my voice is a little dry. But he asked them. He declared, he made the declaration, like others, that the Igbos are ancient Israelites. That is the question. Come on, family. I know a lot of groups are upset. They know that their lie is over. They know that they are not the original, right? Here's an article, Jewish Post. Right? Want to fully understand your family genealogy? Not without a court order. March 30th, 2019. All right. So this double backs, and I'm going to play this video one more time. I'm going to play it one more time so you guys can get we can set this up here or what I'm about to read.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or do you want to become Jews? Right? So that's what leads us to this article right here. Want to fully understand your family genealogy? Not without a court order. That's right, family. Right now, anyone in Israel that want to do a DNA test, they need a court order. They need a court order. Why do they need a court order? because they know that lie is up. They know that the more DNA tests that they do, the more DNA testing that they do, the people are going to know exactly who they are. According to some ancestry websites, there are indicators to tell you if you possess Jewish DNA or not. If you live in Israel and want to find out where your family comes from, what do? One thing is for certain, an ancestry kit from the local pharmacy is out of the question. According to the Yediot Aeronaut report, while millions of such kits have been sold in the United States, Israelis are forbidden to buy ancestry kits. Israelis are forbidden to buy ancestry DNA kits from the store without presenting a court order, as the Israeli government controls these types of purchases due to the genetic information law. By law, genetic information, right? Genetic testing may require obtaining explanations from a doctor and informed consent to perform the test, and should be checked only in the laboratory by a genetic institute recognized and licensed. Such a thing cannot exist. Kits so directly to the public. All right. And it goes on to say that such kits are also highly criticized for their reliability, for the interpretations of their results, and for the possible effects on subjects and their families. So you see that they banned it. So the people are in the Jewish community over in Israel, they can't do a DNA test. They need a government order. A legal order. They need to get permission from their courts in order to do so. So what are some of the untruths? Here's another source. You guys know I've been using this article for quite some time. Forward. This is a Jewish publication, another Jewish publication, right? Can 23andMe tell us if Jews are a race? And is that a good thing? Right? This is what it says. Learning your genetic makeup has never been easier than it is in 2017. It's not easy anymore in Israel. For less than the cost of a doctor's visit, some people are trying to use the service to find out if or to what extent they are Jewish, a phenomenon that worries historians and scientists. Buyers of mail-order gene testing kits do get solid information from them. They learn where their ancestors were living 9 generations ago. Some have even found living but long lost family members. The danger, expert says, is that in relying on these kits to learn more about their genes, users are perpetrating the notion that Jews are a race. Wait a minute, didn't Whoopi Goldberg get in trouble for alluding to that all of the Caucasian Jewish community, the Caucasian Germans, all of them look the same? And she got criticized because many were trying to say that that Jews are a race, which we prove that Jews being Jewish is not a race, not in this legal system. And even when Donald Trump tried to sign an executive order to try to acknowledge them as a race, that doesn't override the Supreme Court. So Donald Trump, wrong, double wrong, completely wrong. The Jewish community in this country falls up under the white race. That's a fact. Not going to pull that source out. But anyway, so they said that users are perpetrating the notion that Jews are a race, a concept that they say has no scientific basis. Is this true? Quote, true? Absolutely. The institution of race has no scientific basis to it. Anthropology Newsletter, The Origin of the Idea of Race, R.G. Smedley, November 1997. It says, contemporary scholars agree that race was a recent invention and that it was essentially a folk idea, not a product of scientific research and discovery. This is not new to anthropologists. So race is a recent invention based on what? A folk idea. It is nothing more than a system to promote stereotypes and to basically draw the line between the conquered and those who were doing the conquering. All right, going back to this article, right? Ashkenazi Jews often find themselves in the peculiar situation of being 90% Ashkenazi Jewish and 99% European. Come on, family. Come on, family. It says that they find themselves in a position of being 90% Ashkenazi Jewish and 99% European. Let me say it one more time, family. Let me say it one more time. Ashkenazi Jews often find themselves in the peculiar situation of being 90% Ashkenazi Jewish and 99% European.
So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now immigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false.
So family, we need answers here, right? Do we not need answers here? And I'm going to drop these links inside the comment section so that way you guys can ask these questions. You could present this to, if you're still part of the church, you could present this to your pastor. If you're still connected to the church, take these links, take these pages that I'm sharing with you, take it to that pastor, take it to your Bible study groups, take it to them and see what answers they give you. Matter of fact, let me copy this link into the comment section, and I'm going to copy another one. This is the one that I'm currently reading from. All right. This is the one I'm currently reading from. And this is the link to the other article that I read about the court order requirement for DNA testing in Israel. All right. So 90% Ashkenazic Jewish and 99% European. Sephardic Jews may be told they are mostly Middle Eastern and North Africa. But let me play a quick video for, guys, I got a lot of clips, but let me play this particular clip here. Since we see the word Sephardic Jews.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
One of them.
I know that.
Because, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica
They were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the
And they're all
Caribbean,
over the Caribbean.
South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
All right, let me give some shout outs real quick. I see a couple more contributions here. Let's start with Queen Lioness of Israel. Family, let's show some love for Queen Lioness of Israel. Thank you for the contributions tonight. And also Cherokee Indian, thank you for the information, Pastor. Our praises to the Most High for waking us up and keeping us all safe. Thank you, Cherokee Indian. Thank you for the love and support. Really appreciate you. And family, let's show some love for Cherokee Indian and also show some love to Queen Lioness of Israel. Really appreciate you guys and the others that have contributed to this live tonight. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the love and support. 90% Ashkenazi Jewish and 99% European. Sephardic Jews may be told they are mostly Middle Eastern or North African and less than 10% Ashkenazic, right? And Stuart Schaufman, a traveler, writer, and blogger who writes under the name, I'm not going to say the name here, said he brought a kit from 23andMe because even though his family insists they're exclusively Jewish, he thought there was a possibility that he had some non-Jewish ancestry. I was curious because you never know, said Schaufman. Family stories are just stories. Schaufman, who learned that he is 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish. Wait a minute, said he learned that he is 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish. Come on, family. Come on, family. Let me say it one more time. Schaufman, he learned that he is 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish, said the test hasn't made much of a difference on his sense of Jewish identity. He's saying no matter what the test say, he's still Jewish. Judaism really informed who I am and my values and my worldview, Schaufman said. 23andMe hasn't made me more or less Jewy at all. I'm just Jewy. However, Schaufman added he's Jewy and white, while others, right, other Jews, and he names Sephardic Jews, Ethiopian Jews, can't claim that distinction. He's an ethnic minority, but a white one nonetheless. But here's the kicker. I get all the benefits of white privilege, he acknowledged. So he's saying that he gets the best of both worlds. He gets to claim that, you know, he's Shemitic, but then he also gets to claim that he is white. Let me say that again, family. He says that he gets the best, he gets the benefits of white privilege. So he's getting the best of both worlds. To be able to say that he's, because when you say that you're Shemitic, you're saying that you are Afro-Asiatic, because Shemitic is a subgroup of Afro-Asiatics. We all are considered Afro-Asiatics. That means that the Shemitic people, or the Semitic people, but Shemitic people, they come from us. So this is why you heard Kyrie Irving say, I can't be anti-self. Right? So again, this person said he get the benefits of being Afro-Asiatic and Caucasian, white at the same time. Come on, family. Come on, family. But right now we all can agree tonight that the gig is up. The gig is up, family. The people, you guys, we are waking up. All of us are waking up to this truth. Come on, family. We're waking up to this truth. Shout outs to my cousin, Benaiah Israel, who is in the building. I want to drop the link if you want to join, cuz I know that you have a lot on your plate. And that's right, family. We are cousins. So let me drop the link here if you want to jump on anytime. All right. So Why did 23andMe tell Ashkenazi Jews they could be descendants from Khazars? Family, did you know that the Jewish community as we know them, guess what? They sued 23andMe. Why? Because of this right here. The genomics company 23andMe has retracted a statement made on the profiles of some users with Ashkenazi heritage that they may be descendants from an extinct tribe from the Caucasus known as the Khazars. So because of this lawsuit, they had to retract that banner. They had to retract that information. As you see here, 23andMe has retracted a statement made on the profiles of some users with Ashkenazi heritage that they may be descendant from an extinct tribe from the Caucasus known as the Khazars. And we know that the Khazars are not distinct, family. The Khazars are not distinct. But let me go ahead and bring my cousin here. Let me bring my cousin Benaiah here. Shout outs to my cousin Benaiah in the building.
Hey,
how are you?
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Doing great. You know, going geek mode tonight. You know how we do.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
So
I caught the tail end of that because I was running around and doing some errands. But yeah, that's right. Cause I mean the gig is up as far as like the DNA defense that they were trying to use before. It's all fallen down and it's all actually turned against them.
Yeah. And see, I'd share with them the post that you made. I went to the actual news article from Jerusalem Post about the DNA restrictions, as far as needing a court order in order to do a DNA test and all that. And then I also played a video of a Muslim guy, and kind of I'll play it real quick. I'm not sure if you caught it, and I'm sure it's going to bring back some thoughts of the conversation that I had with you, that you and I had offline, of one thing that we're waiting to happen. Right? I'll play it for you real quick. Here we go.
Today, it is prohibited, and you can Google this, to do a DNA test in Israel. Totally forbidden. Wrong. It's illegal. It's a crime. You'll be jailed if you do a DNA test in Israel. Why? Because they know the truth will come out. You come from Poland, you come from Ukraine, you came from Europe, you came from everywhere else. And they were the original Middle Eastern Jews who lived together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. For centuries. So what happened to a lot of the Jews?
Uh-oh.
They'll only go so far. Remember the story, the movie Tombstone?
Yeah.
I was like Doc Hollywood? Doc Holliday?
Doc Holliday, I'll be a Huckleberry.
Yeah. And he was, I think at one point in time in the movie, he said, what did he say? He said something about my hypocrisy can only go so far.
Yeah, my hypocrisy can only go but so far. When they're with the badge, wearing the badge of the deputy.
Right. Yeah, and that's the same thing with the so-called Palestinians, because they know that they too don't have a claim to the land, and it's interesting because if you do a little, you kind of do a little digging and you try to figure out, all right, so what's their claim to the land? And actually, their claim to the land, believe it or not, is that they are Canaanites. They believe that they are Canaanites for whatever reason, and that's how they try to supersede the Israelis that are there today. But then you have to say, well, I thought didn't Canaan come from Ham? And I thought Ham was the progenitor of the black race. So how do we have this Caucasian looking splinter cell off of Ham? So it's their claim to the land too is problematic.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nail. But I'm still waiting. Man. Just for someone to, or a entire group to say, you know what, Let's go ahead and put it out there. What do they have to lose? You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, I mean, the way it's going now, they're losing their territory anyway.
Yeah, I think it's odd because right when the you know that initiative occurred in Israel and they started going in with the tanks and all that other stuff, it's like right around that time was when they decided to release, or somebody in Israel decided to release that DNA study. I think that was the one that you published, Pastor Kelly, that you came across, and that was the one where they were saying that, hey, we discovered this ancient Israelite DNA, and we were able to extract the DNA, from the this tooth or whatever, however they extracted it, right? And then they ran their analysis on it, and then they said that, hey, this haplogroup that's assigned, the haplogroup that we found was I think it says like something like J2 haplogroup or something like that. But the main point that they made in the article was that they said the haplogroup originates, and this goes to the point that you mentioned before. It says it originates in Armenia, Georgia, the Caucasus, like all those current countries that are right either below the Caucasus or above the Caucasus is where they trace their DNA to.
Absolutely. And I mean, the cat is out the bag right now. They're trying to literally, what's that old saying? Can't put toothpaste back inside the tube. They're actually trying to do it, guys. What do you think?
Well, it's a little too late. I think that's why they're trying to press the big red button because they know is like you said, the cat's out the bag. There's this 100-pound gorilla called the truth that's going around and sharing things about the Lakesh relief and showing that, hey, there's tangible proof that's out there that's not fringe. It's not fringe evidence. This is bona fide, easy to understand evidence that, like I keep telling people, like a 2-year-old can literally log onto the London Museum's website, type in the Lakesh relief, pull up the old pictures of the Israelites with nappy, woolly hair, and then turn around and ask a 2-year-old, say, does that look like Kyrie Irving? Or insert other ethnicity, and 9 times out of 10, I believe that 2-year-old will point to Kyrie Irving.
Absolutely. And family, the information is there. It's a great time to live in because we have access to all this information now. That our ancestors didn't have access to. They weren't privy to this information, and now it's like if you the only way you can't know is if you just choose not to know. It's getting to that point. What do you think, cuz?
Man, so I'm flipping through YouTube, and you know how YouTube it gives you, like, every now and then it'll say, hey, Pastor Kelly, check out this video, and Gino Atkins, is it Gino? What's it, Pastor Gino?
Yeah,
I forgot his last name anyway, but YouTube said, hey, Gino has a video, check it out. And I'm not subscribed to him or anything. But it turns out that, so he puts out this video where he's talking about, I guess he's responding to the IUIC guys, because I guess maybe they were outside of his building, and they, how they do, because they'll set up shop and they'll try to, I call it patronize the people as they're going back and forth from the facility. And so in his sermon, he decides to address this Black Hebrew Israelite thing. And so then he, of course, he's going into he approaches it from the angle of it doesn't matter if Jesus is Black.
It doesn't matter if Jesus is Black, my brother. By Geno Jennings, right?
Yep. That's exactly what he did. So he went down that route, and then he actually tried to flip. Was it Revelations that talks about, I know them that say they are Jews that are not, and he was trying to apply that to the IUIC guys, like, yo, so they're going around and saying that they're Jews, but they are the synagogue of Satan, and you're kind of doing the SMH, you're putting your hand on your head, and you're like, man, how can you not understand? I mean, it's like at this late stage in the game, you're still hanging on to this illusion, because his whole point, just kind of wrap it up. His whole point was that it doesn't matter, like. And the main argument that I have against that is prophecy. Like the whole Bible, you've got prophecy scattered throughout the whole Bible, and it's talking about Israel. coming back home, returning you to your land, coming into the new covenant and stuff like that. So aside from the Christians so-called Christians trying to hijack that and say that, we're the new Israel, but if you are true Israel, then the promise of you returning back to your homeland is a promise that is specific to you. If you are true Israel, then all the scriptures that talk about Esau having a perpetual hatred against you is for you. Like all that stuff, like you're going to want to know all that stuff. And that's the stuff that kind of gets me frustrated when I hear about, Gino, and he kind of goes on his rant and he's just throwing all that stuff out the door just so that he can do Sunday worship.
Yeah, but Gino Jennings, I'm here to tell you.
You know how he talk, man. But yeah, I remember dealing with Gino when I was strictly on Facebook, and Sister Carol, some of the people that follow me, they can attest to this. I was doing a live actually correcting the teaching he did when he tried to say, deal with the two sticks. He tried to say the two sticks, one was Israel and the other was the church.
Oh, no.
And I literally was doing a live on Facebook, and Gino Jennings popped in my chat and asked me to do a debate. And guess what? He backed out. We should do a debate. And, you know how you talk. We should do a debate. And, but anyway, needless to say, he backed out. He deleted his comments and blocked me and everyone that was in the chat.
Yep.
And Sister Carol could tell you, because I guess, he thought maybe he can stand in the ring with me. But I guess after he heard me going in on that lesson, correcting him how he was wrong about the two sticks.
Yeah.
And he decided to block me and everyone that was in the chat at that time.
Yeah.
So I'm not even surprised. I think I saw that video because that was around the time, I believe, when the IUIC was outside of his, I went to his location and he didn't want to go outside.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, man, it's like I said, in this late day and age, for these pastors to be clinging to this position that's not defensible. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not. I mean, I can see like if they were trying to make this defense like in the 80s or the 90s or even in the early 2000s, where maybe the information wasn't as solid as it is today or as easy to access as it is today. I could see them making it back then, but now at this time, come on now.
Yeah.
And then just one quick last point. So another pastor that popped up. So my old pastor, because if you don't know, family, I used to go to World Changers back in the days, back to Creflo Dollar, right? And that's why.
Now I gotta give you the look.
Oh, now I can tell you about some money, about some prophecy stuff. Now I can tell you about some money cometh. Yeah, we did all that.
Didn't you get in trouble for having like a $20,000 gold toilet or something like that?
No, that was Joyce Myers.
That was Joyce Myers. Okay.
He had the toilet.
I think he was asking for a plane, right? A $60 million plane.
Pastor Dollar had the plane in the Rolls Wars, and bragged about it. He was like, yeah, you don't want no broke pastor, because I could see if I was broke, but you got a blessed pastor. That way, what you can strive for. You can strive to be like me. I'm blessed. So that was his whole thing. But check this out, cuz so he too, in recent, I think it was like within the last like couple of weeks. So he's giving his little spiel, going through. Like I said, I like to check out some of these Christian pastors to see where they are. And so he's going through this whole spiel and stuff like that. And then there's one point in time. The thing that I actually selected his video, because the thing that made me select his was it said the title was like the U.S. is Babylon. I was like, what? It's like, what? Why would Creflo trying to make a switch? So I clicked on it because I'm checking it out, and I'm going through all this garbage, just to get to the point where he's talking about the U.S. is Babylon. And so he finally gets it. And he said, and he starts reading. It's like, well, the person says, Babylon is, something on many waters. I don't know too many people, too many nations that do that. And he's just going down and he basically ends his proof with saying that Well, I don't know if I mean it's all the things just point to the Babylon being the United States. And I'm waiting for him to make the next jump, because according to the scriptures, it's like I think it's in Zechariah where it talks about, thou that dwells with the daughter of Babylon. Like, so Israel, vestiges of Israel will be dwelling with the daughter of Babylon. So I'm like, all right, so if you make that claim, then you also have to figure out Babylon's connection with Israel, but he just stopped and he just went off on a totally different tangent. So
yeah, you know how
so they'll only go so far. They'll only go so far.
Wow. I'm not even surprised, man. Yeah. And you and I talked about it a few times. Pastor's going all the way to the edge, and then he just stopped. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They just stopped, man. But yeah, I tell you, cuz man, it's a lot going on. Like we're living in a great time. And I think like you and I talked about it, discussed this earlier. A year later, a year ago, we were dealing with the Kanye, the Kyrie, the Ron Dalton, the Whoopi Goldberg. That was like the perfect storm. And a year later, we're dealing with this now. So I'm just like Terrell Owens. I'm just bringing out my popcorns, man. Just to see, how it's going to unravel.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, Pastor Kelly, it's like, think about it, fam. You had all the COVID, the CV-19 stuff, all the jab stuff, all that stuff was front and foremost in the news, and that was the main thing that everyone was dealing with. And then to your point, like the Kyrie stuff and the Kanye stuff, that was literally a year ago in October. So October of last year was when all that stuff blew up. Everybody in the barbershop and the mom and daddy was talking about Kyrie. I don't know about you, Pastor Kelly, but I had family members that were actually calling me, talking about some Hebrew Israelite stuff. Like they was off on some call or chat talking about it. And they were like, well, you know what? My cousin, he's into that stuff. Let me call him and ask him some stuff. And I'm like, for real? I was like, man, this awakening thing has gotten off into a whole different level with Kyrie. So all that stuff was like last year. And then, and then we're kind of sitting around, like we was talking about, we're sitting around waiting for the next big thing to happen. And then the next big thing to happen, you got all this war stuff kicking off. It's like, man, if you can see how the Most High has his stuff lined up back to back to back to back. And this war stuff is bigger than the Kyrie and Kanye stuff. So you can just see how it's ramping up. It's like each year is just getting bigger and bigger, kind of like those labor pains. Like those labor pains are getting stronger and stronger. And you kind of wonder, what's this thing going to look like a year from now? Yeah. I agree. Definitely intensifying. That's why I'm just I'm believing that it's gonna escalate even more in terms of, I'm just waiting for someone to put that declaration out. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for that group. I'm really believing it's going to be a group that's going to really set the social media, set the media on fire when they make that declaration, because it's getting harder and harder not to. With all this information, they literally preventing people from doing DNA testing. Hey, Pastor, wouldn't it be funny if how Israel, they bombing the heck out of that area over there? Wouldn't it be funny if they bombed something and they uncovered a big statue with Afro puffs and
man. Man,
in a clenched fist, and it said Israel, had a chain on it, said Israel.
Oh man, that would mess them up right there, man. That would mess them up. But yeah, like I said, Benay, I just want to just kind of address some of this tonight, because that's the question that's being asked, and matter of fact, speaking of that, let me show you a little quick clip, man, of what I'm working on about a video I was going to try to drop tonight, but I may have to wait till tomorrow or Monday at the latest. Tell me what you think. Here's a little clip from it.
Uh-oh.
About to go in.
Uh-oh.
So I may go in so hard that I may have to, be on your lies.
Uh-oh. That's all I got to say about that. Uh-oh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, I thought I was going to be able to upload it because it's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's really a lot of stuff going on. And speaking of that, because I know I was dealing with the Igbo, and we're dealing with DNA. And actually, the next set of slides I was going to cover for the people is, and being that we've been talking, and you've really been doing a lot with the DNA, speaking with Aaron Elhike. And I just want to highlight a couple of slides here and tell me what your thoughts are. And for those that have done their DNA or in the process of doing their DNA, and I know you did a video on GEDmatch, how to get your results from there, as well as My True Ancestry. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna go through a couple of slides, and if you want to just elaborate on that, that'd be great. All right, let me see here. All right, so family, let me show you something here real quick. Right. And again, they know their lie is over. They know their lie is over. They know that they are not the original. Right. So this is coming from the Jewish Almanac. Right. And family, if you can purchase it, I know it's getting harder. It seems like once we start getting hold of certain books, they jack the prices up and they make it very hard to obtain. So this is coming from page 494 of that book. It shows Henry Alfred Kissinger. He is Jewish, an Ashkenazi Jew. He's the former U.S. Secretary of State under President Nixon. So I'm showing you this here so you can see that even in their sources is making it clear that he was the third person in charge, Secretary of State. All right. This is the Jewish Almanac, 1980. So let's go to a memorandum that he pointed out. This is a government document. This is a memorandum. It's online. This is, again, a government document. The Igbos are the wandering Jews of West Africa, gifted, aggressive, westernized. Right, that right there hit home when I saw that part. So this is my DNA results from 23andMe. I have plenty others I can show, but I just real brief 23andMe, right? And I know they've been doing a lot of changing, and they've been changing people haplogroups and things along that line. And I believe that especially once the Ashkenazis sued, and I believe that they're doing a lot to make it harder for you to know what your information is. That's why GEDmatch and DNA Tribe. Oh, My True Ancestry. Those are two great sites, and I'll let Benaya explain that in a second here, because he knows, especially My True Ancestry better than I do. So as you see here, right, it says here, Sub-Saharan Africa, 87%. And actually, when I actually did the numbers, because there's other groups here, actually this number is at like 84.5% when I saw some of the other African countries. But nevertheless, you see Nigerian, 33.5%. Igbo people is listed there, right? So this is what you see here. I just zoomed it in here. You guys know how to do my little effects here. You see Igbo people. And I'm showing you that for a reason, because Benaya can attest to the testimony that Cohen Hamadishi shared about them being tested. And he said the very people that was testing them, the Ashkenazis that was testing them, at best, their DNA would say that they're like 1.2, 1.4 being connected to Israel. But when they tested the Limba, the first results came back, it was like 23, 24%. So then they adjusted the test because they believed that the numbers were too high. So they made adjustments, tested them again, and instead of the numbers going down, it went up to almost 50%. Then they did it again, and instead of going down, it went up to over 70%. Then they tested them again and didn't come back with the test. So even if they're like at the max 1.5, let's even say 2% connected to the Northeast Africa, the ancient Israelites, which we know that's not true, but look at just my DNA with the Nigerians, not to mention other tribes, but just with the Nigerians as far as the Igbos, 33.5%. Is that much higher? Not much higher. Is that much higher than the 1.4, 2% at the max on their end? Much higher. All right. So this is my my Jed match, because I did 23andMe, I did Ancestry, I did some other DNA groups and testing with, but look at here, it says Limba, right, as being the closest match. And actually these numbers are even closer now. I think it was like last I saw it was like just over 8%, right? And then on My True Ancestry, it's like between 5 and 6%. In other words, that's generations. But then you see Limba, you see Ethiopian Jew, you see some of the other names here, especially if I go back here, or I didn't remove this, but anyway, I was going to show the back, and you see some other Israelite tribes. But nevertheless, just showing you that some of the groups that have been confirmed, you see in my DNA. So, Benet, did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, it's interesting because you have to keep in mind, family, that test that Pastor Kelly just showed is, I believe it's illegal for Israelis to take it. They can't take 23andMe, they can't take Ancestry.com, they can't take, insert, third-party DNA company. They can't take it, And these are multi-million-dollar, possibly billion-dollar companies that are processing thousands, if not millions, of DNA for people all around the world, and they're using that to determine their ancestry. But the Israelis can't take it. That should tell you something, family. That should tell you something. But to your point, Pastor Kelly, I believe like we learned there were two things that I want to say revelations, but two important things that we kind of discovered that pointed us closer to who we truly are. And one is, when we take a look at like the Ancestry.com or the 23andMe and it says, you're 20% this and 40% that, that's nice. But to me, the trump card in the report is the genetic distance values. And that's what you just showed with the Limba results. The genetic distance value is what it's a parameter or a value that tells you how closely related you are to somebody. Like, let's say, for instance, if you're a father or a mother and your children, your genetic distance value between you and your children is a very small value. So the closer you are to you're related to a person, the smaller that genetic distance value is. Like, for instance, the value between you and your children is super small, but compared to the value between you and a second or third cousin is going to be a greater value. So said all this to say this: when we took a look at our results and we took a look at Africa, and we said that, hey, show me which tribe I have the closest genetic distance value to, oddly enough, Limba pops up. And the reason why Limba is such a surprise is because growing up, we were always told that, hey, you guys came from the west coast of Africa. We saved you from swinging on some trees, right? And so if that was the case, if that's true, if our ancestry came from the west coast of Africa, when we took a look at the genetic distance value, we would expect a tribe on the west coast of Africa to have the closest genetic distance value to us compared to all the other tribes in Africa. However, when we ran it, that wasn't the case. The results was that this tribe way down in the South Africa were showing that they were the closest to us. And it just so happened that was the tribe that said that they were from Israel. And it just so happened that Tudor Parfait, I'm not sure if you all saw like I think he did like either a National Geographic or I forgot like the documentary. It's actually on iTunes, but he did this big documentary where he goes and investigates. He goes to South Africa. Then he traces and tries to prove the oral history of the Limba, and he does just that. I mean, he backtracks, and the Limba say that they came from Central Africa. They came north of where they were. And then according to the Limba tradition is that they came from Yemen as well. So they came from Yemen, came over to Africa, and then came down to South Africa. And according to their history, that was a move that was relatively recent. Like they didn't move to South Africa many eons ago. It was a relatively recent move, right? And Tudor Parfait was able to prove that they were indeed genetically related to the brothers and sisters that were in Yemen in the city called Senna, right? And because their genetic distance value was very close. But like I said, long story short, family, the genetic distance value was one of the keys to unlock the truth of who we are, because we were able to prove that we were associated with a tribe that was proved to be from the Middle East. And then the last thing was that the discovery of the ancient DNA, when they were able to extract ancient DNA from like these archaeological sites, like, you see where they're digging up those bones and they have teeth and stuff like that. Well, sometimes they're able to extract DNA from like a tooth or something, or tooth or bone marrow. And then when we were able to compare our DNA to those ancient DNA samples, another revelation came to pass. We started having matches over in Spain and Granada, which so happened to be where the tribe of Judah was. We started having matches over in the area of Israel. They don't necessarily release the samples in Judea, which is the south part of Israel, which is another thing that they hide, which is another thing that, I believe that if they release that, man, this whole thing would be over. Like we would know exactly where we came from. But the fact that they're not releasing any DNA, any ancient DNA from that area should tell you all you need to know about how they're hiding the truth over in Israel. But yeah, those two things, Pastor Kelly, ancient DNA and the genetic distance value, those were the two keys, from a genetic perspective, in my opinion, that unlocked this thing as far as our history is concerned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And family, take notes. And if you have any questions, because again, Bened, then you did a video a while back about how to do your Jed match, if I remember correctly, correct? Or was that My True Ancestry?
Yeah, it was on My True Ancestry. Yeah, I don't remember if I did. I think I touched on Jed match. It's been a while. I'll probably have to dig it up.
Okay. And My True Ancestry is a great site, family. And it'll show you your Y haplogroups. It'll show you in detail. It'll show you even what we shared here, what tribes you're connected to. And actually, you'll see even a closer match in terms of generations, because I believe on here, mine's Jed match, mine's for Limba is just at 8 or just under 8% or 8 generations. But on My True Ancestry, it shows like 5 generations. So, but we're the people. We're the people. And yes, I believe that the Most High is using us to be the connector, because of course, the Limbas and the Igbos, they're the same people. So it's only right for us to have both their DNA. We see that inside our results. And so let's see here. The one thing I want to point out too, and because you could shed some light on this too. Here's some questions that I posed in the assembly earlier. But what do I do if I see my DNA results change? All right, that's one of the questions I want to answer. What do I do if I see other nations in my DNA results? We're going to answer that question too. The first answer I want to give: fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of Yahweh. Right? That's Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14. It says, he says there, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today will no longer have power over you, will no longer see them again. You will never have to deal with them again. The Most High will fight for you, but the kicker is we have to hold our peace. So remember, Yah has a plan. Well, what is his plan? Go to Joel chapter 19, and I've been teaching this for years, on top of years. It says this: Egypt shall be a desolation, Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But verse 20 and 21 is key. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. It's still synonymous to forever. You'll see awalam inside the Hebrew. But the key is when it says Jerusalem, because we see Judah, we know that's the Benjamites. We know that the tribe of Judah, of course. But then when you see Jerusalem, right, that is all 12 tribes. That's the remnant from all 12 tribes, right? So it says, I will cleanse their blood, and I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For Yahweh dwelleth in Zion. In other words, correct me if I'm wrong, because isn't this a blood transfusion? He's saying that to make sure that we are not blotted out, because the key is when you start dealing with the treachery, right? Because in the violent that it's dealing with is in verse 6. We were sold into slavery. It says, the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Sound familiar, right? So with that being said, when you understand the art of war, right? When a nation conquers another nation, that nation basically rapes that nation. And what I mean by that, takes all their resources, right? And began to do all kinds of commit all kinds of heinous crimes to them, the whole nine. So, of course, what happened to our community, we were raped by all the nations. So don't be surprised if you see other nations inside your DNA. But guess what? You still were called to slave. You still fall at the short end of the totem pole. You know, the Most High understands our situations. So don't get caught up in, like some of this, like I was watching, and I can't even believe I was watching it last night. Sonetta TV had some garbage on there. Had guys sitting up there showing their 23andMe results, showing that whatever their haplogroup, showing that they had European in them, and they were bragging about, because they, in their minds, they can debunk some of the Israelites by saying, well, the reason why we have the white man in there is because they raped us. That means that you're not Israelites because you have white DNA. It was so sad. They sound like a bunch of nutcases, because I mean, you play sports like I have, man, the most insulting thing you could say to someone, self-check, right? Self-check. I don't play no D, self-check. That's how many view our community. I mean, we're so self-checked that we get in our own way. But that's what they were saying. So I just thought I'd share this passage to you guys, because I know that many of you guys, may have had this question, because I've had emails sent to me about, what are they considered, and I just take them to this scripture here, is that, hey, let the Most High has the final say. He already knows that our blood is not going to be 100% pure because of what we had to endure, but he has a plan. There's a reason why, my DNA is saying that I'm 94%. That's a miracle to even be above. I think they said the average is 71%, but to be that high up, and many of us that high up, that in itself, for me, is proving the scripture right here. What's your thoughts, cuz?
Yeah, and that's important. I believe that's important, Pastor Kelly. I mean, and I will cleanse their blood, because I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. It's like, so everyone, I think, in general, people will accept that there was a very large amount of rape that took place during the transatlantic slave trade. And so it's really not this one of those things that's disputed, right? We just accept that it happened. Like you were saying, Pastor Kelly, it did impact our DNA, so much so that there have been DNA studies that were done on so-called African Americans where they broke down the haplogroup of our DNA. Basically, they could see, roughly like 60% of our DNA is E1, is a haplogroup or a group that's referred to as E1B1A, or at least that's one of the designations for it. They kind of do this weird thing where they flip-flop the names over time. But for the purpose of this discussion, we'll just say they identified it as E1B1A, represents roughly 60% of so-called African Americans walking around today in America, right? And then the interesting part is the next group that shows up in our DNA. So to your point, there's this large European DNA percentage that shows up in African American DNA. And of course, over in Europe, you have all these different types of Europeans over there. But one of the recent revelations that came to light, and I actually did a video on this. I believe I called the video "Caught Red-Handed." And the revelation was the DNA that's found in the so-called African American that's not E1B1A. The next largest group is like R1B. It's a group that's called R1B1A or something like that. And that family is a specific European. It's not all the Europeans. It's a very specific European in a group of Europeans. And one of the things I brought out, family, was that when you take a look at that specific group, that R1B1A, the origin of it was the Caucasus Mountains. The origin of it was the Khazars. The origin of it was the biblical territory of the Ashkenaz. The biblical territory of the Ashkenaz. So that was the first revelation that came to light, that in our blood, in our DNA, most so-called African Americans, if you have a European DNA run, in you, whether it be a small contribution, it's usually going to be R1B1A or something like that, right? This specific group that traces back to the Khazars, specific group that traces back to biblical Ashkenaz. That was the first one. And then the second thing that was discovered was, we said, okay, well, who is this group? Who is R1B1A, right? And that's when we took a look at that DNA report that you came out with, Pastor Kelly. I think you shared the article that talked about the founder group of the Ashkenazi Jews. Remember that one? Yeah. It was the founder group of the Ashkenazi Jews. And so that DNA study was a big DNA study. It showed up in mainstream media. And basically the crux of this study is, it says, hey, we found this ancient group of Ashkenazi Jews over in Italy, if I remember correctly. And they said that this group is responsible for all the Ashkenazi Jews, running around today on the planet, right? So that's why they call them a founder group. And so it was like, what was it, 300 or something people, Pastor Kelly? Was it 300? 200?
Actually, it was 330 people.
Okay, so 330 people. And the interesting thing about this group of 330 people, in their report, they said, hey, this group, we can separate this founder group into two groups. One group we can trace back to Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the other group we can trace back to, and basically they said East Russia, but really it was the territory of the Khazars, the territory of biblical Ashkenaz, right? So, which matches up with the DNA that we find within the so-called African Americans. So remember, I said the next largest DNA group that you find in so-called African Americans is that specific European DNA that's just so happened to be the same DNA group that's in the founder group of the Ashkenazi.
Well, and I'm not even surprised. I am not surprised.
Yep. And that's why it makes it difficult when you start seeing people say things like, well, they weren't really they didn't play a major role in the slave trade. They didn't play a major role in this. The pattern that I'm finding with these arguments that they're putting up, they try to play the numbers game. And the numbers game is that they'll say that, well, we weren't the bulk of the people that caused this stuff to go. We weren't the bulk of the people that participated in it. We weren't the bulk of the people that had slaves. We weren't the bulk of the people that was in the transatlantic slave trade. But what I'm finding, and the argument that I make, is that you may not be the bulk, but you were the most important.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I want to address this here too. Someone posted, your lineage is determined by your father, and this is where I understand that. We know that's biblical, but at the same time, during the height of the transatlantic world war, the way that we define father today, and biblically, they made, when I say they, our oppressors did everything they could to mix and mesh us. So it was quite often that the child will remain with the mother and the father will be sold off, and vice versa. So this is why I go to Joel chapter 3, and I use that to comfort a number of people, because there are guys that had I think it was a record of someone in Jamaica having over 200 kids and never saw them again. There's so many that just didn't honestly know who's who, because of how, this is what was going on during that time. So this is why I'll go back to and default to here that the Most High in the scripture says he'll sort it out. He's going to cleanse up our blood, because many just don't know. And again, it could be somewhere along the line, as you pointed out, Benaya, that's a rape occurred, which we know it did. It happened a lot. Even though, they were treating us as animals, like breeding dogs and breeding horses. But again, there was a lot of things that took place during that time that's documented that will just leave you in awe. Like, man, can they get even any worse than this on what they did to our people? So again, I agree, and it's biblical that the lineage is determined by the father. But what happens when you can't find the father? What happens? And so that's why I agree with that. But at the same time, let's be considerate. And this is what, if we're not careful, this is what opens up doors for others to try to pounce and try to say, well, you can't be an Israelite because your DNA says this here, X, Y, and Z. It has some of this inside of it. And that's some of the things that I saw the unconscious community doing last night. They were literally looking at DNA saying, now this proves that you're not an Israelite because you have Caucasian blood in you.
Wow. Hey, Pastor Kelly, you mind if I read just one scripture?
Okay.
And feel free to clean it up if I misspeak, family. But and it has to do with, because basically what I'm saying, family, is that the insertion of DNA. To your point, Pastor Kelly, the insertion of DNA in the African American DNA. It could be Edom, it could be Gog Magog, it could be Japhet, right? But there is scripture that deals with that, right? It's like Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 7. Yeah, Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 7. And I kind of had a hard time with this scripture because knowing that what Esau did, but I know that the Most High is going to deal with him anyway. So, but anyway, let me just read it. It says, all right, Deuteronomy chapter 23 verse 7 says, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land." Verse 8, "The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yah in their third generation." So I just want to point out that there was always a provision, and this is all the way back in Deuteronomy. But I just want to let you know that there is always a provision for other nations to be in our congregation. So they were going to be right in there, right before the Most High Yah, right? So they weren't going to be on the outside; they was going to be in. All right,
absolutely, and that's part of the ultimate Feast of Tabernacles, other nations, not just going to be us, that Zechariah talks about. So you hit it right on the nail. And so, family, another thing I want to share, and we'll go a little bit, just a tad bit longer. We got, I said I would do it 2.5 hours, right? You know, you have that internal clock, and I know I can go, but after a while, you know, I start, sounding like Urkel, actually Barry White, voice get a little deeper, eyes get closed. So, but we'll go a little bit longer. I just want to highlight something real quick here, and Benay, you could share your thoughts on it. This is a map, right? And just to show that how the Israelites were traveling, because they did not have that man-made Suez Canal here. So they would have to go through the entire, wrap around the entire continent. And why is this key? You see Ophir here, right? But you also see, let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Can you see that, cuz Hebraeus?
Yep. At the very bottom.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hebraeus, that's Hebrew, right? So this is telling you that ships from Israel traveled along this path. And this island right here was a stop for the ships, right? And why is that important? Because this island is actually Sao Tome. And as you see here, this is a little information on this map. It says, in this 1754 map of Africa by Gabriel Ramirez, it covers the entire continent of Africa with adjacent parts of Europe and Arabia. The map identifies the biblical port of Ophir associated with the legends of King Solomon. Ophir was said to be a kingdom of limitless wealth from which Solomon collected the gold needed to construct the first temple of Jerusalem. The true location of Ophir is a matter of significant debate among biblical scholars and archaeologists. Africa, Cillian, Malay, all being viable options. From the 16th century on, most, as per this map, believed Ophir to be located either in or around the African kingdom of Monomotapa. The gold-rich kingdom includes parts of modern-day Mozambique. Go figure, right? Modern days of Mozambique, that's Limba, if I remember correct. Is it Mozambique or Zimbabwe? Can't remember. I think it's either one of these. So the map also identifies Tarshish, Tartetso in southern Spain, another kingdom from biblical legends from which Solomon was believed to have acquired ivory and other valuables, and also from which he initiated his mission to Ophir. All right, so we could go to Kings. When we go here, it says Hiram sent in the navy his servants shipmen that had knowledge of the sea with the servants of Solomon, and they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. So why is this important? Right? I'll go back here to this map, because when we go back here, this is Sao Tome, and this is a stop here, but it's just been beneath the Gold Coast.
Okay. Mind if I land back on that right quick, Pastor?
Absolutely, Curtis. Absolutely.
So the backstory of this family is, so in 1713, I believe it's 1713, England, who was like the at this time, especially in the 1700s, they became like the primary exporter of slaves. England won the Asiento from Spain, in 1713. So basically, they won the right because people, I don't know if people know this or not, but slavery was actually governed by asientos. These were contracts that were authorized by the Pope.
I was going to say that.
Pope, yep. Pope says, "Hey, Portugal, you have the rights to export slaves from Africa. Hey, Spain, you have the rights to send slaves over to to like certain parts in the Americas." So that asiento, which was given to those two nations at first, England won the asiento in 1713. Then in the asiento, the asiento stipulated for England to supply 144,000 Negroes. If you're Bible thumpers out there, 144,000 refers to the children of Israel. Not only that, England then turns around and names the slave coast in 1747, which is before this map, the Kingdom of Judah. So if you ever see those maps where you see the Kingdom of Judah on there, that was in 1747 by, I believe it was Emmanuel Bowman was the person that created the map, right? So when this map comes out after England identifies the slave coast as the Kingdom of Judah. Not only that, they then put, to your point, Pastor Kelly, they then put Sao Tome on there and they put Hebrews on there. It's all connected, family. It's all connected.
Absolutely, family. And so, Benaya has a number of videos that he's done with extensive research and details about the Spanish Inquisition. And you'll see Sao Tome, there's some sources here, I'm not going to get into it, that really shed light on who was sent away from Portugal to Sao Tome and some of those territories. And when you read, it makes it clear it was Negro Israelites. So, which is very important for us to understand, that we're not dealing with Caucasians at all. So on this map, again, it confirms the travel routes, but that going back to that area, as Benaya pointed out and was touching on, Sao Tome is here, and this right here is the Gold Coast. So Ouida would be in this area here. Cameroon, Nigeria would be in this area here. Negro land, Lamb land would be in this area here. Dahomey territory will be in this area here. So, it's a lot. And some of the maps show that some of this territory here was Levites territory. And you'll see, of course, you saw Judah, which, as you pointed out, was named. What year did you say it was named, Benaya?
It was like 1947 by Emmanuel Bowman, I believe.
You said 1947?
I'm sorry, not 1747.
I was about to say, man, that's pretty recent.
No, it's 1747. My bad if I said 1947. 1747.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So family, I know we gave a lot of information tonight, and our primary objective was to address that situation over in Israel with them banning DNA. So this tells you that they know we're the people of the book. They know that their time is running out. They know it. And so real quick before we wrap up, and I'll let Benaya give some final words here. But I want to give some shout outs to the super chat. I see some additional contributions. Want to say send Mythia. Want to say thank you for the love and support. Thank you for the contributions. Family, let's show some love for Cynthia. Let's show some love to her. Lisa Jackson. Want to say thank you. A house can't stand on a lie. Absolutely. Also, we have Queen Lioness of Israel, Cherokee Indian. Show some love for her as well. Or show some love for the contributions here. Father of Many Nations, want to give some love to him as well for the contributions. Dervy, Arlene, Sister Dervy, really appreciate it. Tia of Yah, shalom. Shalom to you as well. Thank you for the love as well. And Douglas Worley, thank you for the love as well. So family, really appreciate you guys for the contributions. And again, it's greatly appreciative. And we have more content that we have to go through. But Benaya, before we wrap up, any final words you want to share with the people? I know we give them a lot of information, and I know the primary thought that I want to just kind of share with the people that they know that they're not the people of the book. They know we are, but they know that they're not the people of the book. And they can only keep that lie going on, but so long.
Yeah. I mean, it's the gig's up, man. It's like we was talking about the west coast of Africa, like all the history that we were taught as far as like our, us coming from the west coast of Africa, like all that is being, replaced with the truth. And it's making it difficult for us to be anyone but Israel. And because I know some people will say things like, well, all right, well, I believe that some of the people that was in the transatlantic slave trade were Israelites, but not all of them, and I'm, I won't say that absolutely everyone that was in the transatlantic slave trade was an Israelite, but what I will say is that there were laws that govern who was a slave. And that's the thing that people leave out. And that's the thing that drove well, I mean, I'll just say this real quick and I'll hop off. What's not part of our history is the Manuelian laws, what is called the Manuelian ordinances. So basically those are like the Portuguese laws that govern slavery that, you can go and look it up. It's like in the Lisbon National Archives, National Library. And it's the laws that everybody should know about, that every institution in America should be teaching about, but they will not touch it because of what's in those laws. Because the laws that govern the transatlantic slave trade were laws specifically for the house of Judah. They called them by the names of Lancados, Degradados, and I forgot the third name. It's like Tangamagos, Tangamos or something like that. I'm butchering that name. But basically the laws that were on the books for slavery, it was for a specific people. That's not that's not up for discussion. Like that's not disputed. They know that those laws were for the children of Judah, for the Lancados. They know that. They just won't tell you that those laws were for you. Right. And then yeah. And so like I said, it's a you can really go deep into that family. But the history of who we are is coming to light. They can't hide it. Is out for everybody to see. And at this point in time, family, I just feel for all of our family and friends that are still kind of stuck in the whole Christian church stuff, not knowing who they are. Like we were talking about Gino earlier, about him saying things like it just doesn't matter. You got the video. I know you got it, Pastor Kelly. But basically he was saying it just doesn't matter, right? But what does matter, family, is the prophecy. And that's what everybody and their daddy is trying to figure out, what's going on over in the Middle East. Like, what is happening in prophecy? And you best believe that this prophecy has to do with the real Israelites, right? The real Israelites.
Absolutely. And this is for my cousin Benaya, since he mentioned it.
It just doesn't matter. 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 It just.
Well, Pastor Kelly.
Now, Benaya, now you know that, you cannot be saying what you're saying, I mean, Christ, if you want to talk about Christ.
It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because God.
Yeah,
man, but definitely appreciate it. Cuz, for jumping on and shedding some light, because I know you cleared up a lot for those that are watching tonight. And family, we thank you for the love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the like, subscribe to the channel. And if you're not subscribed to Benaya's channel, Benaya Israel, subscribe to his channel. And Benaya, anything that you have coming up that you want to let the people know, or you good?
Yeah, I should have a video hopefully within the next couple of days called "The Fall of Jerusalem." I think you'll find it interesting. It's based off of the accounts of Josephus, who was actually there, and also Tacitus and some other folks. So yeah, hopefully I can get that out within a couple of days. We'll see.
I'm on. And shout outs to Mike C. Thank you for the contributions tonight. Really appreciate you. Family, show some love for Mike C. And with that being said, family, in the words of the Most High to Moses, as Israel came out of Egypt and they came to a place that seemed to be a dead end, and they began to panic, they began to complain, they began to have regrets. But the Most High gave Moses these words to encourage them. He said, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh." These Egyptians that you see here today, they will never have power over you again. The Most High will fight for you. And here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. The Hebrew word that's in that text is kharash, which means be quiet. In other words, calculated silence. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. Of course,